Control. Ready?
1,
3, 2, 1.
Go!
I wanted to show my 3-year-old son what his dad does as a filmmaker. So I made a short film starring my son. No budget, a few tantrums,
We got one more to do. Come on, one more, then I'll get you out. One more.
and making a few paper rockets. Eventually, I turned that short film into a Spec ad.
Remember that dream? For the mistakes and heartbreaks.
But what got me to this point wasn't having the best gear, though some of you might argue against that, or at least having a budget. I had an idea, and I saw it through to the end. Now, this is certainly a risky path to travel down because my channel does focus on gear. And what I'm not saying is that gear doesn't matter, it does. But when it comes to gear, I know it clouds the mind of many filmmakers and stunts the creative workflow. So listen to me when I say your next film doesn't need more gear. It needs a story. Most of us fall into the same trap, wanting the right gear, the right client, the right budget, or just the perfect conditions, which all have their place, but it quickly becomes paralysis by perfection. Trust me, I've been there. But the truth is, the ideas always come before the gear, and if you don't have something to say, no lens will save you. So how do I push past paralysis by perfection? Well, I actually have a formula. First one, be honest in the areas that you want to improve as a director or cinematographer. Secondly, I don't take myself too seriously. If you don't have a safe space to make mistakes, you're just setting yourself up for unwanted anxiety. And 3, fall in love with the process again and again.
Keep going.
Then, bless and release. Share it with your friends, share it with your family. In my case, I share it with you all here on YouTube.
Yep, there you go. I don't want you to make this. You don't have to touch it. I want you to go. Okay?
As I was putting this project together, I thought about what my 3-year-old son likes, which he loves to explore, like any 3-year-old boy does. This concept of curiosity led me to where we live, which is in the middle of several hundred acres of corn, and a house that looks like a prop from my favorite film, Interstellar. So when it came to the writing, I had a very simple log line, and it read, "On a quiet farm, a boy flies a paper rocket, his first steps towards the cosmos." From there, I just kept the vision very simple, and I made a beat sheet with some images from Interstellar and some photos I took for inspiration. But most importantly, I left a lot of room for something spontaneous to happen.
I don't need those alien feet. I don't want those alien feet. Ooh, I don't want those alien feet.
You have to have that when you're working with kids, especially your own kids, because it can quickly become chaos.
Turn. Even your weight. Look out that way, baby. Javen, turn your whole body towards the corn.
But at the same time, it's very pure. They don't fake emotions, they just exist in the moment.
That way.
And that's precious in its own way. Looking back, I had to remind myself that my son isn't trying to make a film, he's just with his dad trying to go to space.
Time for speed.
It's really awesome to know we have platforms like today's sponsor, Audiio, to inspire our visuals and creative workflows. With Link Match AI, I just drop in a track that I love, and Audiio will find music with similar vibes in their massive library. And with Hans Plus, I literally just type in a feeling, for instance, hopeful and nostalgic, and it gives me a great starting point to work with. With the new release of Elements 2.0, this allows me to use high quality stems from songs that I like on their platform. This is great for a spec ad so I can customize the instruments and timing for the final piece. So if you're interested, use code CINE70 to get 70% off your first year. That's just $59 for unlimited music, sound effects, and all their AI tools like Link Match and Hans Plus on their mobile app. That's a fraction of the cost of what other services are charging, and you can hear the difference in their music. Link is in the description below. Now, I had mentioned about turning that short film into a spec ad, and I will have to say I'm very blessed to have someone in my back pocket who's seen a ton of commercials and works in the industry full time. He is our rep and our producer from the agency that we work with, and he and I sat down and had an opportunity to really rip this apart because there really wasn't any clear goal. Even though I had a log line and everything, it needed to be tightened up. And so he and I thought about several different versions that we create. And this version I'm about to show you here is a one take with a quick script that I wrote. These are the areas that I'm not strong in. And so, yeah, this is definitely a work in progress.
Remember that dream? For the mistakes and heartbreaks. The dream that got you out of bed each morning. The dream that shined on a cloudy day. Let's get back to dreaming.
Again, consider this a work in progress. And I didn't add a brand logo. I'm still figuring out what that looks like, but that can be added much later. Obviously, I'm using AI for the VO right now, and I'm definitely going to hire someone else. It was hard to really get the AI to sound what I wanted to sound like. I wanted more warmth, a more motherly tone, the pacing and everything. So I had to actually upload my voice for the pacing, and I used Artlist for that. But yeah, not my favorite. And some of the words were kind of cut off a little bit, but again, this is a work in progress. I used the NiSi Aureus primes, the new ones that just got released this past year. Thank you, NiSi, for actually sending these over to me to try out. What I like to do, and many other filmmakers, is when I get lenses to test, before I use them on a job, I make a spec ad or something personal, as we all should do. This allows me to test the lenses in the environment that I'll most likely use them in. But I just have to say, y'all, we are living in an era of peak filmmaking gear that's getting easier to access, whether you rent or buy. And personally, the NiSi Aureus are sitting pretty high on my list when it comes to lenses. Now, what surprised me is the character of these lenses. Ever since the Athenas were released a few years ago, NiSi has been labeled with a clean or clinical look. And to be fair, in some areas they are, which isn't a bad thing. And I just don't understand why this conversation of clean lenses gets such a bad rep. I've always defended it because there's a place for every type of lens, vintage or clean. There are a few couple low light scenes in the film as you watched, so the T1.4 gave me a lot of headroom to play with my exposure. I was pushing the ISO of my GFX100 II around 6400 to 12800, and it's totally not a low light camera, but this is the time to make these mistakes and just push as much as you can. Now, someone did call me out for saying that the image was noisy, and yeah, it probably was, but I didn't really take this as an opportunity to be precious. I just want to see what I can do. I pretty much lived with the 24mm, and I found that to be the best and the most versatile lens for what I was filming with the wides and close-ups. I do like the way the Aureus handled flare, the way the focus fell off, and just the texture that it just added. Even the hard edge bokeh I found to be playful, which added to the youthfulness of this film. Something to take note as well, you might have noticed some darkening on the edges. That's not the lens, that is actually my C5 Matbox from NiSi, and I do hope that they make a larger Matbox for this, because this has been an issue I've had for a while now, where lenses that are much wider than 24mm on my GFX, because the GFX does see a little bit past that, it always has some darkening on the edges, and that's because my variable ND is a little bit smaller than what the coverage is of what the camera is seeing with through the lens. So I really do hope that there's a larger matte box coming. If not, I'm going to be switching to another one eventually. So I just want to point that out. That's not a character flaw of the lenses. The lenses are pretty clean across the whole image. Hold on. Your next short film doesn't have to stay on your hard drive. Share it, reframe it, turn it into something more. Because at the end of the day, nobody remembers the gear that you used. They only remember the feeling you left them with.